Hello and thanks for checking in once again with Crossroads here on Big Centre TV. Are you enjoying the selection of episodes we've been bringing you this week? Remember, we're doing our best to bring you every episode that still exists in as close to the original order as possible. Now, it's an important week in the life of one of the regular characters this week, and we'll be telling you more about that a little bit later on. Also on this week's show, we've got a couple of extra little treats for you, which are hopefully going to become regular additions to the show, but we'll keep you in suspense like a good cliffhanger should for a little while longer. Now remember, if you can help fill any of the gaps in the storylines, do let us know. Or if you want to let us know how much you're enjoying Crossroads again, you know where we are. On Facebook and Twitter, just do a search for Big Centre TV. And if you want to email us direct, then it's crossroads@bigcentre.tv. Oh, and if you'd actually like to write us a letter, then you can. Our address is Crossroads Check-in, Big Centre TV, 14A, Lower Hall Lane, Walsall, WS1 1RL. A quick look at a few of the messages we've received now, and Robert Grant has emailed to say, I watch your programme on the original Crossroads with great interest. I was an extra in the 60s in Crossroads. I cannot remember the episode numbers, but I can remember some of the storylines. Number 1, I was the florist at the wedding of Marilyn Gates, Sue Nichols. Number 2, I was the mountaineer who rescued Dr. Maynard when he was injured whilst climbing. I was in several other episodes around the same time. Robert goes on to say, my late mother was in the episode mentioned above at the wedding. My mother was the producer of the local musical comedy society, of which Noel Gordon was a life member. I do hope you can assist me, and I would love to see these episodes again. Robert, thank you so much for your email. That's just the sort of thing we like to hear. But as you might have guessed, the episodes we've been shown recently covered that exact period, and they're the only ones known to exist at the moment. And really sadly, they don't include the episodes you describe. But of course, if anyone knows any different, then please do get in touch, and it'd be so lovely to see clips like this again. Next, Alan Keeling in Albury has been in touch. He says, during 1981, when I worked at the printing firm in Birmingham's Jewellery Quarter, I was given an order to print A4 and A5 letterheadings for the Crossroads Motel, 500 of each size, on the small offset machine that I then used to operate. 2 weeks later, I saw Meg Richardson, Noel Gordon, handle one of the letterheads that I'd printed recently before. How chuffed I was. I bet you were chuffed. You know, that's something I'm hearing regularly about Crossroads, that they make use of local companies who would then see their products up on the screen. Makes sense, of course, but it still makes you proud, doesn't it? Don't suppose any of those letterheads survived, did they, Alan? And Michael Poynton has sent us a message saying that he's very much enjoying Crossroads. He says, I'm a lifetime fan, loved Meg, Amy, Diane, Vera, Sandy, Jill. Great to see Jane Rossington on Crossroads Check-in. Enjoyed the show very much. Thanks, we're glad you're enjoying the show too, Michael. Keep them coming. Now, Michael's told us about his favourite characters. Why not tell us about yours? Some of the contact details are back on the screen now. Just get in touch. Look us up on social media at Big Centre TV, or you can email crossroads@bigcentre.tv. Oh, and remember the hashtag BCTV Crossroads. That'll help us to find your messages straight away. Our address is Crossroads Check-in, Big Centre TV, 14A, Lower Hall Lane, Walsall, WS1 1RL. Crossroads Check-in, Big Centre TV, 14A, Lower Hall Lane, Walsall, WS1 1RL. OK, still to come in today's show, we've got our regular look back at some of the happenings in your favourite daily serial, and we'll be taking a quick look ahead to some of the things you can expect to see during next week too. And a couple of new things for you this week. A little later on, we'll be checking in with John Drury as he brings us the first in an occasional series of reports looking behind the scenes on Crossroads. This week he'll be looking at some of the actual locations used in the early years. But first, it's time for our look back at what's been happening recently at the Crossroads Motel. And from this week, we're going to be checking in with our very own bureau down in Kings Oak for a unique look at what's been happening in the area. Our reporter, Glenn Allen.
Yes, I need to know everything about Amy Turtle's collection of hats, and I need to know it now. Do you understand me? You'll never work in this business again if you fail me on this. Thanks, Mum. Hello and welcome to Kings Oak Central. Well, there have been quite a lot of things happening over the last few weeks in the area, most of it centring on the Crossroads Motel. Somebody's been in touch to tell us that Marilyn Gates has been accused of actually being Audrey Roberts from the Weatherfield area. Suspicions were first aroused when she was seen flirting with the military.
Here, Major, they will be all right, won't they? I mean, when they go overseas.
Who?
Well, Bill and Eddie, you know, the two that kidnapped me. See, I've grown rather fond of them, in a sisterly kind of way.
Oh, I I don't think you need worry about them too much. They'll have their favourite sergeant to keep an eye on them.
Oh, well, thank you very much for bringing me home, Major, and you will keep an eye on them for me, won't you?
Well, I'll see what I can do.
And look after yourself, too. Goodbye, Major.
Goodbye.
The second, Sarah Maynard, was seen at a wedding reception. Mr. Jake Fisher, who wishes to remain anonymous, says that he believes that she is in fact Yvonne Stewart-Hargreaves, a champion ballroom dancer from a popular holiday camp.
Ruth, you look lovely.
Thank you.
Absolutely gorgeous, and you're a very lucky man. Yeah, I know.
He doesn't know what he's letting himself in for, does he, Sarah?
If you want any tips on her secret vices, come to me. Remember, I've known her all her life.
You know, I might just take you up on that. No, seriously, we wish you a very happy life together.
You deserve it.
Thank you. And Sarah, everything will be all right for all of us, I know.
I know.
Listen, Dave tells me you're going on holiday.
Yes, we're going to Greece.
Oh, how marvellous.
Greece, of course, is not where she went to. It was, in fact, Maplin's. Now, the wedding reception that Yvonne Stewart-Hargreaves was spotted at was the wedding of Mr. and Mrs. Frasers. They were given a very special gift.
I really must congratulate you. I hope you'll be very happy and take great care of her, because if you don't, I will. There's a little present for you, with my love.
In fact, I have that very picture here. Priceless. I'm sure you'll agree.
Oh, we shall treasure that all our lives, Jimmy. Thank you.
And if things ever get a bit tough, you say, you can always flog it. It's worth a bother too.
Very good. I'll put it up.
In other news, Vince Parker was visited by a member of the 80s pop band The Flying Pickets, no doubt trying to recruit him to their band.
I wish you'd reconsider, Vince. We could work very well together here.
Oh, yeah, but work at what? Look, I'm treading the straight and narrow these days.
So am I. Since I did my last stretch, I'm as clean as a whistle.
Nah, it'd be more than me life's worth.
I've got to say it, Vince. I'm very disillusioned.
No joy there, then. There are fears that cuts in the NHS could lead to compulsory serving of jelly 7 days a week.
Losing your temper hasn't done you much good.
It was worth it just to try and make you change your mind.
It was a wasted effort. Circumstances have forced me to change my decision already. The nurse I was going to detail to take over has been taken ill.
Does that mean Shirley can stay?
It would be too complicated to change the rota completely.
Why didn't you tell me before?
You didn't give me much time. Now send Nurse Callaghan in with your tea.
Oh, great. What is it, jelly today?
Not today. Jelly yesterday, jelly tomorrow, but never jelly today.
The hunt is on for the identity of a woman terrorising people in the Midlands area with 2 knitting needles and a ball of wool, speaking in a very high-pitched voice. Do you know who she is? Get in touch if you do.
Well, it was a beautiful wedding. Most of the Crossroads crowd was there. And Tessa looked lovely. She really did. Pity Mrs. Richardson was taken ill in the middle of the reception. Oh, and what do you think? Dr. Maynard knows that Miss Knight, who's been decorating this place. Seems they were at college together. Small world, isn't it?
And we're just hearing an update on that story. In fact, yes, I can now confirm they're not knitting needles, they are a pair of crochet hooks. Please keep aware of this woman as she is giving away story details to all and sundry. And finally, the son of Meg Richardson, the local motel owner, has been involved in a car accident and is currently in hospital. We'll give you more on that story as we have it. Well, there does seem to be a lot of things happening at this Crossroads motel, so the best way to get to the bottom of things and find out exactly what's going on is to book a room. I think I'll do that now.
Crossroads Motel, good evening. Tomorrow night, just a moment.
Hello, yes, I'd like a room with a view, please. Yes, and a jacuzzi and breakfast at 8 o'clock a.m. sharp, my good woman.
No, I'm afraid we can't. Well, perhaps you could try Fairlawns.
Fairlawns, but that's miles away. No joy there, then. Well, that's it for this update. I'll be back next time with a further one. Thanks for watching. Now it's back to Lee in the studio. The other studio, not this one.
Thanks, Glenn. And we'll be looking forward to what's coming up next week in part 2. Right, we're going to take a short break now, but don't go anywhere, because in part 2 we'll be taking a good look ahead to what's coming up on Crossroads during next week. And we'll be looking at some of the actual filming locations Crossroads used in the early years. Oh, and just before we go, quick teaser for you. Can you remember what was the UK #1 when Crossroads began at the start of November 1964? Don't look it up, see if you can guess, and we'll see you after the break. Welcome back, and thanks for checking in with Crossroads here on Big Centre TV. Now, before the break, I asked you what was #1 when Crossroads began at the start of November 1964. Well, I hope you didn't look it up, but it was actually Sandy Shaw singing "There's Always Something There to Remind Me." It got to #1 on the 22nd of October 1964 and stayed there for 3 weeks before Roy Orbison came along with "Oh Pretty Woman." OK, it's time for something else new now. We'll be catching up again with Jane Rossington during next week's show, but this week we're going to take a little time out and look at some of the locations used in Crossroads with John Drury. And we'll start with a look back to the early years.
Hello, I'm glad you can join me as I take a look at some of the locations used during the early years of Crossroads. Some of the locations we're looking at today date right back to 1964. Now, you might be surprised to learn that the most famous motel of all, the one with the red sign, wasn't a motel at all. In fact, it was an agricultural college in the village of Baschurch in Shropshire. Production notes from 1965 show that as well as the college, the village also provided ATV with many other locations, all within easy reach of the studios in Birmingham. The grounds of the college also featured a lake, and this often appeared in stories right up until the end of the series in 1988. This is episode 496 from November 1966. As well as carrying out location shooting, the producers had ventured outside at night, doubly expensive. Today, the building shown at the start of many episodes is still instantly recognisable. I wonder how many of today's students know about its illustrious history. In story terms, the college was ideal, as it featured new buildings linked to an old house. And even the back of the college got in on the act. Paintings of this view often featured as motel chalets seen through the window of the staff room or the office sets. Crossroads producers often took advantage of locations from right across the Midlands. This scene is taken from episode 126, which is the earliest surviving episode from 1965. Bizarrely, it shows Carlos the chef sneaking into Chalford House School for Girls. In reality, it's Aston Hall, a 17th century mansion house just north of Birmingham. Before our next clip, there's just time to pop back to the village of Baschurch. The manor house next door to the motel also featured in stories throughout the early years of the show. And guess what? It really is right next door to the college. This scene is from episode 500 from November 1966, and it features Sue Nichols as Marilyn Gates. In it, she's seen watching a passing out parade and then inspecting the troops. This is only an edited version. They were obviously very short of dialogue that day. These scenes were filmed at Whittington Barracks in Lichfield, which is now an MOD medical centre. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this whistle-stop tour of some of the locations used during the early years of Crossroads, and I hope to show you some more soon.
Thanks, John, and John will be with us again in a couple of weeks' time. Next week, more memories from Jane Rossington. Now it's time to look ahead to what we can expect during the coming week's episodes of Crossroads right here on Big Centre TV. And we're actually quite settled for most of this week's run of episodes as they all continue onwards from the sad news of Sandy's accident last week. However, if you don't know anything about the storylines, then beware, because what I'm about to tell you does contain a certain number of spoilers, you have been told. Now, Monday's episode is number 1755 from August 1972. In a moment of closeness with Sheila, Diane confesses that there was nearly a time when she had an abortion. The hospital vigil for Sandy continues as Wilford insists that trouble always comes in threes.
Mr. Harvey, and what's wrong with the running horse tonight?
I like a change now and then.
Two of the best coming up.
Tell you the truth, we got fed up of our own company at home, didn't we, Dad? Sheila's off out somewhere and Jules over the hospital.
When I think of that poor young chap lying there.
All right, Dad. Just give it a rest.
How can I give it a rest? Been thinking of nothing else all day. I only wish there was something I could do to help him.
You and Amy Turtle both. It's just what she's been saying.
They say it always happens in threes.
Don't be daft.
Can't get away from it, can you?
On Tuesday, we've got episode 1756 from August 1972. Everyone at the motel awaits news about Sandy, and Meg is told that he will never walk again. Timothy Hunter leaves the hospital and is blamed for the accident by Chris. And in this clip, Vince Parker's father turns up at Miss Tatum's shop.
Evening.
I'm sorry, we're closed.
Understood I'd find Vincent Parker here.
I'm afraid you've missed him. He's just gone home.
Ah, pity.
Well, would you like to leave a message?
No, I want to see him. Surprise him.
Surprise him.
You'll have his address, of course.
He may not like it.
I appreciate your reticence. Prudence, highly commendable.
Thank you.
But I'd like his address, please.
Suppose it's all right.
On Wednesday, you can see episode 1757 from August 1972. Diane is shocked by the unexpected arrival of Vince's father, as is Vince, who hasn't seen him in many years. David Hunter breaks the news to Timothy that Sandy will be paralysed for life. Meanwhile, Amy Turtle is gossiping in reception.
I'm glad you're busy.
Well, look who's here.
Just thought I'd drop in. I've been doing a bit of shopping for the Hunters.
Oh, and how is everything at Lake House?
Couldn't be better. That's if you don't mind being stuck in the back of beyond.
Now, nobody twisted your arm.
Are you joking?
Hello, Mrs. Turtle. You find it difficult to stay away?
Not from you, with all due respect.
You haven't changed. How are you making out at Lake House?
Couldn't be better.
Then you have me to thank for doing a favour.
I should, but I won't.
If you talk like that to your new employers, you won't last long.
Don't worry. He's a gentleman. He knows how to treat me.
Oh, we all love Amy Turtle, don't we? On Thursday, it's episode 1758 from August 1972. Meg is still deeply distressed over Sandy's accident, and the ward sister asks David for help. Vince tries to reconcile with his father. Meanwhile, what's going on with Tish and Ted?
It took 5 minutes to say no. I'll never understand.
Wanted to spare my feelings, I suppose. Not that I've got any left. I feel quite numb.
Oh, it's disappointment.
Timothy's got all that money lying
no,
around.
Madame Dory was bad enough, but at least she knew what she was up to. Uncle Timothy would bankrupt us all in a week.
I suppose you're right. That's one hell of a problem.
Is it?
What are you thinking of?
Hello.
Hello, David. Good grief, is that the time? Sorry, Tish, I've taken up much too much of your time.
Oh, don't worry about that. Excuse me.
Look, if you have a few spare moments, give it a thought or two, will you?
Yes, I will.
I'll pick you up after work.
On Friday, we have episode 1759 from September 1972. Sandy awakes from unconsciousness to be told about the accident and his paralysis. Mrs. Loomis apologises to Amy, and Meg is understandably looking at life in a different light.
Meg, there are only a certain number of things that can be said in a situation like this, but to quote the old cliché, life has to go on.
Why?
What do you mean?
People are always saying life must go on. I'm asking why.
They say it because they want to believe it.
Exactly. And I don't.
I see. Liz Clark's moved out.
Oh, well, we had to expect that, I suppose.
She's very young, Meg.
Yes. She's got her full health and strength. I'm sorry, David. It's very good of you to come over here, but visitors aren't really helping Sandy.
I came to see you as much as anything else. I thought you might be interested in what's happening at the motel.
I just told you. It doesn't matter anymore.
And finally, on Saturday, we're having to move ahead a couple of months to episode 1817. That's from November 1972. In the wake of Diane and Vince's separation, Vera asks Wilf to help in the purchase of a houseboat for both her and Diane to live on. Sandy's recovery is enlivened by the presence of an attractive physiotherapist. Meanwhile, in reception...
Right, Diane, I'll take over now.
Oh, right, Mrs. Richardson. Now, hang on a minute. There's somebody got to be told about a telegram.
Boland, Shelley too.
Right. That's it. Good evening.
Mrs. Cunningham.
As ever was.
Are you living here?
No, I'm staying with friends. I just popped over to have a drink. A large vodka and orange, please. Will you join me?
Not just now, thank you.
What a pity.
Mrs. Richardson.
Yes, Mrs. Whitten.
Mr. Lovejoy wanted to know what you want for your dinner.
Just a salad, thank you.
Oh, is that all?
Well, he'll know what I mean.
I hope we're not losing our appetite.
Well, I'm not. I don't know about you.
Everything looks much the same.
Yes.
I like it, though. Too many changes going on in the world at the moment.
I'll agree with you there.
So London's being literally pulled to pieces.
And I suppose the old's got to make way for the new.
So there you go. That's all to come on Crossroads, right here on Big Centre TV every night at 9. Well, we've run out of time on Crossroads check-in again, but I'll be back at the same time next week. So don't forget, if there's something about Crossroads that you'd like to tell us about, maybe you can fill in some of the gaps in the storylines. Maybe you've got some fond memories of some of the episodes we're showing. Tell us who your favourite character is, or even which bits of Crossroads you're looking forward to seeing again. Just get in touch. Look us up on social media at Big Centre TV, or you can email crossroads@bigcentre.tv. Thanks for checking in with Crossroads, and I'll see you again next week.